I mean, you are a guy, but you're also a person inside, right?
In that sense, I would say that in terms of conforming to the concept of being a masculine man, it's much easier now.
There is no need for like something in between that distincts a guy from a girl.
Hello everyone, what's poppin'? Welcome to another episode of Bouncing Board. If you're new here, our channel aims to be a gateway to meaningful connections for young adults through a series of intellectual, fun, and random questions. So, let me introduce you to four fabulous speakers from four very different backgrounds. First of all, we have Yippee! Yippee, say hi!
Yo, what's up?
So besides being very into cheerleading, Yippee here has a very interesting talent that he's been super passionate about since his high school days. So please share with us what this awesome talent is.
So basically, it's a hobby of mine. It's basically Diablo, and I've been playing it for close to around 10 years. The other name for it is the traditional Chinese yo-yo. So basically, it's just a big ass yo-yo with two sticks and then one string, and then you play tricks with it.
Then we have bubbly boy Zach, who is a future music producer, singer, and MC in the making.
Hey, what's up guys? Hi.
Next, we also have Luke, and contrary to his name, he has never watched a single episode of Star Wars and is a huge, really huge Star Trek fan.
Hi, I'm a person. Hello.
What the else? And last but not least, we have cool cousin Wenze, who was also his prom king in his high school days and also looked like a Shawn Mendes lookalike when he was a lot younger. Not anymore though, ladies and gentlemen, not anymore. Now that everyone's acquainted with each other, it's time to reveal today's topic.
Whoa.
Basically, the context for today's topic is as the world continues to its progress in breaking down gender stereotypes and norms, we want to hear your opinions on what being a dude is like in today's modern society.
Before we continue, it's time to get woke by learning the difference between sex and gender. Sex is the biological differences between males and females, whereas gender is the role of a male or female in society, known as a gender role, or an individual's concept of themselves or gender identity. Are you woke now? Let's get back to the video.
I think for me it would be Ed Sheeran and James Arthur. Two of them. Because I really like their music.
For me, one of the people I kind of looked up to ever since I was a kid was like PewDiePie. In hindsight, looking back at how he is right now compared to that screaming prepubescent kid he was back then, it's like really wholesome now, and just being able to see that kind of growth in the person is like something I really look up to.
He's damn swole now.
Yeah.
He won I think it was the most handsome face of 2020.
For me, I guess, like for a lot of my relationships with girls, in terms of like conversations, a lot of it is like based around like, texting. Like, okay, like if we're talking about texting, I ghost my guy friends a lot, to be honest. I ghost them all the time. Girls-wise, I just find them like a little bit easier to talk to, in the sense that they tend to be a bit more, philosophical, I guess, or like they care more about the abstract things. Whereas with guys, I'm just like talking about things that are, in the moment, goals, where do we go eat? Where do we work out at? And like, what do I want to do for the next month? Goals, that kind of thing. And yeah, I guess that's the difference. I look to girls for like emotional fulfillment, whereas guys are more of like more realistic kind of companionship.
I mean, like I agree with Luke's point about like for girls is like, because I have more emotional conversation with girls. But I think it would be until a very extreme point where I would go to my guy friend for that. I think like for me,
They try to joke with you, right?
Yeah. Emotional release, I would usually go to like girlfriends because they know how to like talk things out better. But for guys, it's like, if it's serious, if it's like damn freaking serious, then only like we will find each other to talk. If it's not, I guess screw it.
I don't really discriminate my girlfriends and guy friends. We all swear at each other normally, because for us, we don't really like care. So all my girlfriends are not really sensitive, and like sometimes they get angry if we treat them different from the guy friends.
I'm somehow closer to a lot of girls, But that doesn't discount for me, like when I talk to a girl versus when I talk to a guy, it's very different, because I like to see both genders as almost the same, because we're in the end we're all humans, so like I believe that both parties deserve the same kind of respect, and if you're comfortable with them and they're comfortable with you, then it's fine to just talk about anything. There is no need for like something in between that distincts a guy from a girl. Like a lot of times we have all these stereotypes, but I think we should, it's already 2021, so like just let it go.
I mean, I agree in a sense that it's easier for us because I feel like nowadays people have more job opportunities. It's easier for us to find jobs because there are more job opportunities, but you still have to put in the work to actually learn the skills that you need for the jobs that are needed. Because like I feel like in past times the job opportunities were very limited. But I feel like now it doesn't matter how high the pay is, but rather like if you have the skills, if you have the skill set, if you have the talent, then you can work multiple jobs at once. Because a lot of people like nowadays they do freelance, but they do part time. So it's a bit you have more control of your time lah. But it's easier in the sense that you get more job opportunities.
Being a guy has certainly improved. It's like much easier today compared to back then. You have the internet, you meet so many other kinds of people who take the lifestyle of being a guy in different ways. You look at people like Harry Styles or Tyler the Creator. They dress a bit more androgynously and they are a bit more expressive. So in that sense, I would say that in terms of conforming to the concept of being a masculine man, it's much easier now because there's not much of a requirement to do so. But there are still parts of being a man, which is like the biological aspect of being masculine, that I think still hasn't changed over the years. Like looking at people like my grandfather and my father himself, these two are like men that I don't even think that I'll be able to live up to. But some things haven't changed, like things that make them attractive as men, which is like mastery of a craft. My grandfather is a really good farmer. He has like multiple orchards. My dad's really good at his aesthetic practice. And similarly today, things like mastering a craft, like maybe make a game dev, or even like learning a skill to put food on the table. Those kinds of things still hasn't changed.
Yeah, I agree lah. Because like I feel like what makes a guy attractive isn't really based on part of it is based on his looks lah. But the other part of it is also based on what he's good at.
It's true. For me, I think living as a man now compared to last time, I think it's equally as hard because now. So my mom always tells me, she said, if you don't have a degree, you're nobody in this world, which is kind of true. Whereas last time you can go through other paths to success. I mean, you still can, but there's a bit of pressure sometimes. If you don't reach to where you're supposed to reach your goals. For example, like getting a degree, being successful in your studies. Yeah.
I kind of agree with what Menza and Luke said just now earlier, but I think that in our times we also have our struggles at the same time as having our perks and things that benefit us as compared to what happened. What was the time back then? Because back then it was very fixed. You only had jobs around a few options, which was like either farming, being a doctor, or all these things, and there were not much of different options that you could look to. So that's where it was easy and everything was fixed. So you were either doing this or that, and you had basically a life set for you already. Whereas now there are so many factors that you have to take into consideration, and then also right now when we have all these perks, all this competition just gets tougher and it gets heatier, and then it's very hard to just find your way inside if you're not the best of the best, or if not the best in your field.
Yeah, I agree with that in the sense that today's working world is slightly more competitive, and I also think that kind of plays into another part of another element of being a man, which is the grit, the gameness. When you fail something, when you're in the fight and you get punched, but you still have the ability to get out and continue fighting. I think that's a really masculine trait, lah, for example. And I don't think that just because we are slowly like crossing the conventional definitions of being manly, it's like we're being slightly more expressive now. That doesn't mean we have to sacrifice those kinds of manly traits. You can still translate those into much more into things that are relevant to how you are today.
I think boys and girls should be raised differently and will be raised differently. Because, for example, when I was a kid, I was raised differently from my sister. For example, things that my mom gives to me and things that my mom gives to my sister is different. For example, she won't be giving me a Barbie doll, right? Because I wouldn't play with that. She encouraged me. She actually scolded me last time with my sister was watching Barbie doll, and I would like go and watch just because it's on the TV. She asked me to go upstairs and watch Power Rangers. I think in the future, I'm not sure if it will change, but I feel that boys and girls will still be raised differently because of the different preferences.
I think Menza's point has its validity, but I don't entirely agree with it because like I feel like because we were at a time like my age, being 19, we were at a time where it was quite sexist the way parents parented their children, because like if let's say for me how I was raised was slightly different from my sister, because like back then we had this narrative where we feel like boys should like boy stuff and we associate boys to boys, so we never associated boys with Barbie dolls and we never associated girls with Power Rangers and etc. So like I feel like if we're going into the future, and then where I know this is really just a very big idea which is very far away, but like I think at some point a lot of people just want equality between both genders. We have to start to set aside the biological differences and like just raise boys and girls almost the same way, because at the end of the day the difference between us is just the biological parts. We don't have much of a difference actually, because even in the way we think, it's very personal. It's not like a guy should think like a guy. I don't think we should stereotype it this way. And then parenting back then has its flaws but also its pros, but like I just feel like right now it doesn't really stand, and it shouldn't work that way anymore, because like you see the effect that it has brought to so many things these days, where corporate sectors and the main committee of like a very top company or very high profile company, all their main people, like the big shots, those people, it's usually guys, and girls is just ladies just take a very small percentage. Even in the cabinet, even in countries, you see that a lot. But there are certain cases where females are slowly coming up and bringing up themselves.
I agree with what Zach said. I think raising two different genders, giving them different stuff or like treating them differently may cause some parenting difficulties. For example, like you give your boy something, your boy child something, and you give your girl child something else. Maybe one of them would be like, why does my gift suck and his gift is so nice? And the treatment that they get is different. And also I think that sometimes a child should have a choice themselves of what they want to do, instead of their parents just forcing them to do something.
I mean, like, I can summarize mine. It's just like I agree with what Zach and Menzo said, which is basically I feel like let the kid decide what he wants, what he likes. If you like something, then just support him full-heartedly, be it guy or girl. I feel like there shouldn't be a different way to raise each child, because even though you are a guy or even though you are a girl, each child is different and unique, and there is a unique and different way to raise any kind of child.
On my end, I'll just say that recently we've been seeing like much more people who are raising their children to be like non-binary, giving, instead of going for blue or pink, you pick grey or something, it's like a more neutral color. And to that end, speaking from as someone who like put on makeup and cross-dress as a kid with his sisters, they'll turn out fine, no worries. But I seriously doubt that people in like more, how would you say, less educated parts of the country, like example like my place in Kedah, like things like what their children wants to be as a person, gender or gender wise, I don't think that they'll really care per se, because it is like we don't have enough studies or data or whatever to really decide what a child really likes. And so I guess the main reason why we have this model where guys blue car, girl pink Barbie, is because that people are just looking for a convenient way to entertain their kids. And I suspect that as we have more technology, with iPad games and all that stuff, those stuff are being a bit more androgynous. I guess that that'll be a lot better than like just giving them Hot Wheels or Barbie dolls. I guess like what I value the most is like two things, basically confidence, as well as the grit, the drive, to keep doing no matter how many times, keep doing things no matter how many times you fuck up. I feel like those are really good qualities to have in a guy, and even more important to have today compared to back then. Cause why? I don't know. I just feel that way.
I agree with Luke because I don't really like quitters. I feel like the saying goes, quitters, winners never quit, and quitters never win, which is true, because I feel like a lot of my friends there have this quitting attitude, which is not good. I don't think anyone should have that attitude. I feel like no matter how many times you fail, you gotta pick yourself back up and to show that you're alpha male in this society. And I think this modern world, I think being a guy, you have to have a strong personality, walk around with a lot of confidence, like Luke said.
I mean, like for me, my values are to be honest, and it's okay to not always have that strong exterior. I mean, you are a guy, but you're also a person inside, right? So just break down whenever you feel like it is okay to break down. Just air out your emotions to anybody who's willing to listen. If you don't do that, you're gonna break inside, and then it's gonna be a shit show for you in the near future or in the present or wherever it is. Just learn to be vulnerable at the right time.
My parents have always taught me a lot of lessons, and like for me, my principles in life is basically like, when I can, I'll just give you quotes lah. This is from Wonder. If you guys want to watch the movie, it's called Wonder. That quote is, when given the choice between being right and being kind, choose kind. This is one. And then another one is, and also being a bit more understanding towards other people, because I know like there are a lot of people out there who are hurt, and then like what Yippee said, sometimes when you don't know how to be vulnerable, you'll get into a shit show. And then when you are in that shit show, you don't know how to come out of that shit show. And you feel like everyone is against you at that point. And I think that as humans, we have a role to play in helping them get out of this hole. Because, I mean, how long can you be vulnerable for? Like, how long can you be hurt for? I mean, it's not about like they put themselves in that situation doesn't mean that they don't deserve to come out of that situation. Like, that's another one. So these are the things like I try to keep up, and then when I live my life and when I lose my track, when I lose my path, then I try to look back at all these small little things and then pick myself back up.
Thank you to my fabulous speakers for giving their thoughts, and thank you everyone for tuning in today's episode. We are really happy that you've lent us your ears, and we'll see you in the next episode of Bouncing Board.
Bye.
Bye.